Hello, my name is Alex, and today I'm joined by Ahmed, Raymar, and Noah. We will be discussing Ford Motor Company, more popularly known as Ford, and we will be providing you with a risk assessment of Ford. To start us off, we've just included one of Henry Ford's most famous quotes, talking about how you can have any color as long as it's black. While they couldn't supply a large range of products in the beginning, the Ford Motor Company went on to revolutionize the assembly line and get the world moving with the first vehicle built for everyone. Just for some background on Ford, the company was founded in 1903 and today is a publicly traded company. Most of its income comes from the sale of automobiles, but Ford has also been known to make other products such as airplanes, radios, and refrigerators. During COVID-19, Ford has also had a role in manufacturing medical supplies such as ventilators. Ford's mission and vision emphasize product effectiveness and business leadership in the automotive industry. Its mission is to drive human progress through the freedom of movement, while its vision is to become the world's most trusted company, designing smart vehicles for a smart world. Ford currently has operations in North America and 125 countries around the world. This strong global presence is emphasized by its 8 research centers, 55 manufacturing plants, and nearly 11,000 dealerships worldwide. Regarding the SWOT, the main strength of Ford is its engineering and research and development capabilities. These efforts are directed at improving performance, safety, customer satisfaction, and developing new products. As a result, Ford bears a strong market share of 14.7% in Canada. Ford's main weakness is its product recalls that have damaged its reputation. In June 2019, Ford issued 4 separate safety recalls in North America due to a discovery of a faulty gear shift that puts drivers at risk of crashing. Frequent recalls have led to a loss of consumer confidence in Ford, as well as numerous multi-million-dollar lawsuits. The main opportunity for Ford is the growth in automotive technologies, specifically electric models and autonomous vehicles. Ford could greatly increase its sales by taking advantage of the growing market for electric vehicles and produce more product lines directed at this segment. Ford has already invested heavily in developing driverless cars through its partnership with Argo AI, and doing so could improve its competitive edge on the market. Climate change has become an increasing threat for Ford in recent years. The automobile industry worldwide has been influenced by a broad spectrum of increasingly stringent regulations governing the emission levels of exhaust fumes and carbon dioxide guidelines, which were brought about by the Paris Agreement. Failure to comply with these standards could severely impact Ford's operations and profits. And like many businesses, Ford has not been immune to the damages inflicted by COVID-19. Due to the global pandemic, Ford has suffered from disruptions in exports from China, large-scale manufacturing interruptions across Europe, and the closure of assembly plants in the United States. I would now like to pass it off to Noah to discuss the risk identification of Ford.
Thanks, Alex. The annual report used 4 categories for risk factors: operational, macroeconomic, financial, and legal. The top 2 operational risks would be from vehicle defects causing problems for Ford and product disruptions from external factors such as labor disputes. Both vehicle defects and work stoppages could put more stress on Ford suppliers, which could cause them to stop production. The top 2 strategic risks for this category would be from external events affecting Ford's results and market fluctuations. COVID-19 was an important event that had caused a lot of damage to Ford, including the disruptions Alex named in the SWOT. Tariffs can also affect commodity prices, and fluctuations in currency exchange rates and interest rates can all hinder Ford's results. The top 2 financial risks for Ford would be the possibility of insufficient funding due to the credit and the possibility of extremities and losses and overall credit risk. Credit risk is heavily tied to the overall economy and could have an adverse effect on Ford's funding constraints. The top 2 legal risks for Ford will be future changes in safety, emission, fuel economy, or vehicle regulations, and the continued development of privacy and data laws. As with recent events relating to COVID-19, Ford must follow the changing regulations in data use and protection so that compromises in data and cyber attacks are minimized. With the risk matrix I laid out, the top 8 risks in terms of severity and frequency are used in part to determine the top 4 risks facing the firm. 1. Vehicle defects causing delays could be seen as having high frequency and high severity. Massive recalls can have high severity for how much it would cost Ford in terms of money and public perception. In the case of COVID-19, a pandemic would have a low frequency but a very high severity. New policies and tariffs are always being put in place as the economy and relations between countries are changing, which can have a big effect on Ford's financial condition. Low financial rate from the economy would have a very high frequency and medium severity since fluctuations in the economy are always happening. However, a decrease in credit would have severe effects on Ford's ability to fund new productions and operations. Ford modifying its plans to comply with safety would have a medium frequency but a low severity. Regulations come entirely from external sources such as the government, so the severity of these regulations rely entirely on Ford's willingness to comply and usually comes at the cost of drastically changing how Ford manages their operations. I'd now like to pass it to Raymar to discuss the top 4 risks.
Thanks, Noah. Ford's top 4 risks include the negative impacts of vehicle defects, negative results driven by an increasingly connected global economy, the legal implications of below-standard vehicles with changing regulations, and their access to debt, securitization, or derivative markets becoming negatively affected by credit rating downgrades. When addressing the risk of negative impacts from vehicle defects, which include delaying new model launches, recall campaigns, and increased warranty costs, it's clear that the vehicle defects are the main driver of these risks, while government safety standards exist as sub-drivers. To address this risk, Ford should purchase insurance. Currently, Ford accrues the cost of base warranties and field service actions, so purchasing insurance would additionally ensure that they would be covered in any major events that could severely harm them. Next, we'll discuss Ford's risk to negative results by interactions in foreign markets. This risk is primarily driven by how interconnected the global economy has become, where events such as natural disasters or economic downturns can have significant adverse impacts on markets around the world, negatively affecting Ford's operations. Ford's presence in many foreign markets is relevant as a subdriver of risk. To deal with this risk, Ford should retain it. Due to the unpredictable nature of world events, it is unreasonable to purchase insurance or restrict their activities. The primary risk driver behind Ford's below regulation standard vehicles is the changing government regulations that manage the worldwide automotive industry. Subdrivers of risk are the potential for short notice changes that limit Ford's ability to adhere to new regulations, including the cost and effectiveness of available technologies. Ford should retain this risk and look to reduce the frequency of events where vehicles are not following regulations. Ford's global footprint comes with the price of having to comply with the evolving landscape of data use and the importance of environmental impact. It must be kept in check to make sure that it follows certain regulations out of concern over the environment, vehicle safety, and energy use. Ford's access to debt, securitization, and derivative markets are affected by the primary risk drivers of credit rating downgrades, market volatility, market disruption, and regulatory requirements. Subdrivers of this risk include the potential end of the London interbank offer rate, which could cause additional volatility or disruption with funding and hedging. An avoidance strategy seems sufficient to deal with this financial risk due to the uncertainty that it has. To implement this plan, Ford to reduce its risk by decreasing the number of receivables it buys to avoid funding constraints. Refusal to implement these policies could result in a loss of credit and, by extension, Ford's ability to fund new products and operations. Now, Ahmed will discuss how to measure the success of risk management plans.
Thank you, Raymar. In order to measure the success of the risk management strategies, different strategies can be employed for different risks. Purchasing insurance is a feasible scenario when dealing with vehicle defects and can be measured through the cost per claim or total claim costs. This can then be compared to insurance premium Ford pays on an annual basis to ensure that it is a cost-effective method to handle the. When assessing the success of Ford's ability to maintain vehicle regulation standards, retaining the risks while also reducing frequency is an appropriate risk management method. To analyze the success of this method, it is suitable to compare previous year's recalls or manufacturer defect statistics to the present year and infer if the methods being taken are appropriate. One suggestion for Ford to consider is the automotive market trending away from consumption of sedans and more towards sports utility vehicles and trucks. Ford's current production line involves cars, trucks, and SUVs. Moving out of the sedan market could be beneficial, given the wholesale car sales decreased over 100,000 units from 2018 to 2019. By lowering production or beginning to phase out the sedans line entirely, Ford could largely minimize its risk of losing profits. Thank you for your time.